This is Siofra's Magic Alcove, and I am Siofra Bradigan. I thought it'd be a good idea to introduce myself to everyone, at least briefly. I was born in 1950, and I was born different, like a lot of us are. Never felt like I fit quite where I am, kind of thing. I'm not sure what to say about myself now that we started this. So I've had strange experiences ever since I was little. Seen things, heard things, and always knew that I was a witch. A lot of people have a problem with the word witch still, with all the media and hype and everything else around the word itself. And I'm not sure exactly how to explain how I knew that I was a witch, except it was just this inner sense. I knew the word, I knew what it meant. So I've always been connected, and I've been at this for quite some time. I've had a lot of different experiences, a lot of unusual experiences, to say the least, and they started when I was pretty young. Some of the first ones were spirits in our neighborhood and voices that would tell me exercises to do. I had memories from different past lives from the time I can remember. That's not common for everybody, but I think it's becoming a little more common now. More people are being born remembering things from other times and other places. And I didn't have a good childhood. I had an abusive environment. My father was an alcoholic, and he was a sadist. And these things never help, but I always knew there was something wrong with the way the people I lived with acted and the way things presented themselves in the world. So my first real connection was with the animals, my dog and my cat. I looked to them to learn how to act and how to behave. And I think it was through that process and spending a lot of time in the woods, out on the grass, hiking around by myself, because I didn't have any real friends in the human category, is why I feel more connected to, I don't know, the planet and other forms of life and consciousness that co-inhabit the planet with us. So I never was totally human-centric. It was more immersive in the other parts of life, getting away from my family and the people that were very confusing to me. And the thing is that discovering magic and ritual and how to do it was one of the steps towards healing and recovery for me. I believe that magic is a hidden or lost process whereby we can actually transform our own consciousness and our personality and make ourselves into who we want to be. It takes work. It doesn't happen overnight, and that's just the way it is. But it's worth it. I went through a lot of therapy as well as the magical processes and the meeting of different beings from other planes, and all of that together has helped me a great deal to heal from the trauma of my childhood and early adulthood. Most of us aren't born smart. It's sort of a process, a thing we have to learn how to behave and how to be in the world. And so if you are struggling and having difficulty with your life and you think that this path is an instant fix and that everything will be suddenly perfect when you do a spell to say everything's going to be perfect, I'm here to tell you that that's not how it works. It can seem like that temporarily, but we all have things that we're working through. And trying to be as good a person as you can is kind of the goal, in my opinion. So for me, magic is the ability to feel the tides and energy, the ebb and flow of life forces around you, not just the people in it, but all of the different forces that are around you. And being able to sense when life is moving in the direction you want to go, and then you can sort of hitch a ride, magically speaking, and allow that tide or wave to flow over you and carry you to where you want to be. Everyone's here to learn something different, and we all start at a different stage of development. So wherever you're at, it's where you're at. And it's never too late to start. Nothing is wasted, in my opinion. So part of the process of living a magical life has to do with paying attention to what's around you, being with the people and the animals and the life forms that cohabit with you, being aware of yourself, your own thought processes, your own feelings, and taking responsibility for your own actions. And that's what I use the path for, to be able to delve into my own subconscious and to reform things in a way that I can be proud of who I am, who I'm becoming, and how I treat the rest of the world. So during adolescence is when I experienced a sudden burst of premonitions. And I think puberty is difficult for that reason. It's difficult for everybody, but for those of us who have this difference, it kind of brings it all out. And so it was very confusing. Life was very confusing. When I was little, there were no people to talk to. There were no books to read. There was very little information out there, and what was out there was inaccurate, to say the least, written from a particular prejudice. So connecting with the earth and connecting with life itself is what my goal has always been, and to make a commitment to meet reality on its own terms and try to set aside some of the definitions that humans have come up with and not put things in too many boxes. Because when we define things too well, then we decide to throw out all the other things that it could be that's outside of our experience because we don't know about them yet. And that kind of leads us into a personal kind of blindness, I guess, to what could be going on around us. If you think about it, life exists whether we're here or not. The planet will exist whether we're here or not. The universe will exist whether we're here or not. Therefore, what we think about it may not actually matter. It's still going to be what it is, no matter what we say, no matter how we define it. So walking this path and trying to let go of those definitions is a way for you to start to explore reality on its own terms. And there's a lot of different forms of consciousness out there. And when you open yourself up to the idea that things that don't have a mouth might still have a thought or an awareness and something that they might want to share with you, then you'll have more wondrous experiences. So after being in this life for this long, it's hard to know what to share and when to share it. But the reason I'm doing this and talking to you in the first place is because in the old days, we would be villages, towns, people like us would have a place in the society, well, in some of those societies at any rate, and we would have more direct contact with each other, limited but still direct. People are very spread out nowadays. They're all over the place. They're still seeking and searching, and this is a way to share some of the things that I have gone through and I have learned and experienced with a wider audience of people. So I hope you've enjoyed this little introduction into a little bit about me. And my focus in this is to give you as much practical exercises and information as I can. And then what you do with it is entirely up to you. So we'll have more of these talks later. But I thought I should just say hi. So this is Siofra Bradigan, and this is Siofra's Magic Alcove.